What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I'm going to be talking about my initial impressions of Infinite Warfare just based off of the first weekend of the beta on PS4. Keep in mind, I will be doing another one of these next week that'll likely be a little bit better thought out, a little bit better laid out as well. I just wanted to get this first initial impressions based off the first weekend out for you guys, since you guys are asking for it every single day a lot. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so with this one, we're not going to be getting into a lot of the little tiny details. Details like, in gun game, I wish there was a sweeping UAV, for instance. These are very minor things. They don't really have much of an impact on the overall sort of impression that I have of the game. So this is very general impressions so far. And let's start off with the good. What do I really like about it so far? The first thing I noticed is the overall gameplay and the movement of your character is very, very smooth and very solid. I love the core gameplay of this. We're not talking about map design, we're not really even talking about gunfights so much at this point. It's basically just how well your character moves, how well he responds to what you want to do, how much control you feel you have over your character, because some games can feel kind of clunky and weird. This game, to me, feels very smooth. The movement system from Black Ops 3 being introduced to this works very, very well with the Infinity Ward engine, and I'm very pleased with how they integrated that movement system into this engine. Moving on to the next thing that I'm really enjoying with the beta is the hit detection is excellent, just like we would expect from an Infinity Ward game. Now before a bunch of people jump on me and say, no, hit detection's terrible, I keep getting killed instantly and everything like that. That's not a hit detection issue. By hit detection, I mean when I shoot someone and I'm on target and I know I'm on target, I hit them every single time. In this game, it feels excellent, and I would say I have no issues whatsoever with the hit detection itself. As for the latency and the connection, we'll talk about that in a little bit, because we're focusing on the good stuff right now. Moving on to the next point that I have jotted down here, this is map design is better than Ghosts. Now, again, this is going to end up a little bit on the bad side as well. Maybe I'll just discuss it here. This is kind of a good and bad. Map design, in my opinion, is much better than Ghosts, but it's not quite as good as Treyarch map design, in my opinion, or based on my preferences. I don't like the maps as much as a lot of the Black Ops 3 maps, but at the same time, it's much better and much faster paced than a lot of the Ghosts maps, so I am very happy with that. I am hoping in the final game we see some slightly larger maps. I don't mean like absolutely massive Stonehaven maps, but just slightly larger maps, because a lot of the ones in the beta are quite small and cramped, and a little bit chaotic at times. But I do like that the game is relatively action-packed due to the map design, rather than with Ghosts, where a lot of the times it was just too slow for a Call of Duty game. So map design, I would put that as a good thing in this game, if we're looking at Ghosts, which was Infinity Ward's previous game. Next up, we have general weapon balance, but I want to focus mainly just on like the guns that are used most often, so SMGs and assault rifles. Overall, the balance between the SMGs and assault rifles seems to be very solid. Of course, there are some that I would say are a little bit better than others, but every SMG and assault rifle that we have access to so far seems to be very viable to use in the game. You don't really feel like you're at too much of a disadvantage for using any one of the SMGs or assault rifles. You might have to adjust your playstyle a bit, but that's pretty much it. This is a really good sign, because a lot of the times these are the areas where there are some big issues, like there's one assault rifle that just dominates all the other assault rifles. And that doesn't seem to be the case in this game. The next thing that I really like about this game is how they're handling the variant system as well as supply drops, at least based on what we know so far. This could change in the future, they could screw this up in the future, but as it is, knowing full well that they have to have supply drops in this game because Activision made way too much money on it last year, and that's just the way that the industry is going. Assuming there need to be supply drops in the game, they are doing it the right way with this game so far. We can earn any gun we want by just working towards it and grinding the game and putting the time in. We can get any variant that we want, or we can potentially get lucky and get it out of supply drops. And then there's other like customization stuff that you get out of supply drops. This is the best way to handle supply drops if they're going to be in the game, and I'm currently happy with the way they have this system. Like I said, this might change in the future, but so far it's looking really good. The final thing I want to say when we're on the good side of things here is overall, once I put a little bit of time into the game and I started understanding what was going on around me, started learning some of the perks, some of the rigs, what they could do, learning the maps a little bit, and starting to just generally understand the game was overall very, very fun, very enjoyable. By the last day of the beta, I played that right down to the last second. I was so excited to play the game, I was so happy to play the game, and I was really enjoying myself with the game. That's not to say there aren't any little issues, especially some issues we're about to talk about, But overall, I felt like it was an enjoyable gameplay experience, and that is a huge thing for me. I am looking forward to this game because of this. Now let's get into the bad, or just the not so good parts of Infinite Warfare so far from what I experienced in the beta. And the first thing is something that I already did a full commentary talking about. The commentary was titled as Time to Kill, but the actual conclusion, what I was talking about in that video, isn't necessarily a time to kill issue, it's a latency and connection issue that is being tweaked right now. The first day of the beta, it felt like it took me 4 to 5 bullets to kill, but it took enemies 1 to 2 bullets to kill me with the same guns. As the beta went on, this improved. This kept getting better. Every single day, this got better on the beta, and this is what the beta is for. They're working on their network tweaks, they're working on their stabilization and everything, and I wouldn't expect this to be as much of an issue once the full game launches. So if you are experiencing that issue and that's your main gripe, stick with it, come back to it in a bit. It'll likely get better for you. I hope it does, at least for you. I know it got better for me, and I know it got better for a lot of other people based on the comment section of that video that I made. Now, I'm not trying at all to gloss over this issue. It is a bad thing. It does need to be fixed. It still needs to be worked on, and it is extremely frustrating to play with. Moving on to the next thing on my bad list, this one, I was kind of borderline falling between like a minor issue and a general issue, but I'm going to see this as a general issue because it's turning a lot of people away from the game that are just watching some gameplays from people that haven't done this yet. But that is, by default, the film grain that's added into the game as well as the motion blur, it doesn't look good, in my opinion. And if you're watching a YouTuber that didn't disable those, it doesn't look as good as it could be looking. And I don't know why they put these certain things on by default. If you turn off film grain and you turn off motion blur, the game starts looking immediately much, much better. So for all of you guys that haven't gotten into the beta yet or didn't know about this, go into your video settings and immediately turn off film grain and disable motion blur. Your game will look much better. Moving on to the next thing that I have on the bad list, that is map design. Now, I know I said I had this on the good list as well. I talked about it a little bit. It's not as good as Treyarch games in my opinion. It's still an Infinity Ward type of map design where it's not really perfectly symmetrical. Sometimes it's a little bit unbalanced, or it feels unbalanced, where if you spawn on one side of the map compared to the other, like for your initial spawn, you might actually be at a disadvantage. I think Frontier is one exception to this. That one I believe is like perfectly symmetrical. But for the other ones that we've seen, they aren't quite perfectly symmetrical, and it seems like one side sometimes does have a noticeable advantage at the beginning of a game. And also another thing is there are a lot of lanes with these maps. It takes some time to get used to, but it does create some chaotic situations that I feel are unnecessary and that you wouldn't normally see with a Treyarch map design, where things are a lot more controlled feeling. So overall, like I said, not a huge fan of the map design in this game, but I will say it's much better than Ghosts, and it's much better than I expected from Infinity Ward. So I am okay with it, but it's still not as good as it could be. I'm hoping for better maps for the full release of the game. Next up on the bad list, I said Assault Rifle and SMG weapon balance was great. As for shotguns though, I feel like the shotguns in this game are next to useless. They're just not viable. It appears they've gone back to the original system with shotguns, the original damage system where each pellet deals a certain amount of damage, rather than what Black Ops 3 did, where they have a base damage. If you hit one pellet, you're automatically dealing a very large amount of base damage, and it doesn't matter quite as much how many pellets you hit. It matters more so that you close that distance and you get up close. And shotguns, I feel, should be dominating up close, and in this game, based on my experience, they do not dominate up close. They somewhat compete with SMGs, but they don't dominate, as they should. Piggybacking off this shotgun balance a little bit, let's talk a little bit about sniper balance. Now, I did a full commentary talking about this yesterday, so if you want to see my full opinions and stuff on it, you can go and see that. But overall, I feel like snipers are just a little bit too easy to use up close and should be toned down slightly. I'm not saying remove quickscoping, I'm just saying a slight nerf would be nice for the sniper rifles in this game. Moving on to the final thing that I want to talk about in the bad category for this commentary, that is an overall lack of character of weapons. This is something I've heard mentioned before, maybe on Reddit or somewhere. I don't even remember where I picked this up from, but it did get me thinking, yes, I totally agree with this. There isn't too much character with the weapons in these games. They don't really have super distinct sounds to them. The hit marker sounds themselves, even though this doesn't really apply to the weapons, the hit marker sounds, while it might sound minor, to me it's kind of a big deal to hear that I'm hitting my target. it gives you that little dopamine release in your head when you have that good hit marker sound, because it's like, yes, you're doing great, keep doing what you're doing, you're hitting your shots, good job. And in this game, you can barely even hear the hit markers. I'm not really a fan of that. The weapons don't sound super unique or super great in my opinion. Also, the camos in this game, I don't know what Infinity Ward's thinking with their camos. I'm really not a fan with how they handle the camos. They basically just completely cover the gun with a color, and it just looks cartoony and gross to me. I like it when they've got a little bit of intricate detail like Treyarch does with their game. So overall, those are the general things that come to my mind talking about the good and the bad with Infinite Warfare. Like I said, there are a lot of little things as well that don't really affect my overall impression of the game too much, so I didn't really mention them in this video. I might have glossed over a few things a little bit too quickly. I will have a much better review, or I should have a much better review next week after the second weekend of the beta, after I get some more playtime with this game. So I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you think of this game so far? And please don't just say, this game sucks. Please tell me why. Explain yourself a little bit. I've been seeing a lot of blind negativity towards this game and blind hate towards this game from people that haven't even played it. People that watch some gameplay and they're like, wow, this game sucks. No, give it a try. Play the game. See if you like it. See if you enjoy it. I really enjoy myself with it. I'm not saying that that means you have to enjoy yourself with it. If you seriously don't enjoy yourself, please let me know in the comment section what you're not enjoying about the game. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.